So the most important part was getting these beams completely level, which actually took a little bit of time. But that's definitely key to making sure everything else is level. I mean, this is basically your foundation here. So here I've got the one sidewall up, and now I'm getting the second one. And this is definitely where you could use a second person to hold these up because they do not want to stay. But I made it work, and I got them up there, and then I basically put a bunch of nails in the bottom to somewhat hold it. But, you know, they still want to tip over. So all these boards were cut at home before I got here. I kind of pre-assembled everything. Did like a dry fit type thing. So all these angled cuts, all the lengths were cut at home. Ran into some problems with that, as you'll see later. But for the most part, it worked pretty well. So I was just, able to transport them up there, and then I assembled the walls and put them up. So once I get these up, then I start doing the back wall. The back wall is 6 feet high. The front is 7 foot. So I start with the slats here in the back. It's still very unstable. And then I'll put in the cross supports, and then it really gets much more stable right here once I do that. And then from here, I just attach the rest of the slats after I put that on the corners and kind of got it secured. Got everything level. With those beams being in there, it was surprisingly easy to level everything out as long as the beams were level. So there was a large gap here because I stopped recording. So basically I got those back slats in and built a frame for the actual toilet seat. Put a little slow-mo so you can actually see what's going on there. So here's the actual toilet seat, which I did cut at home as well, and it luckily fit right in there. Very secure. Okay, so next day here. So I put the front of the toilet on there. And now I'm putting in the flooring. These are all treated 2x12s. So right here, just putting in the front supports for the front wall. Basically, the front wall is going to be 2 slats, 1 on each side, and then a piece that goes across the top. I was relying on the thickness of the slats really for a lot of the support. So there's not a whole lot of framing here, and it seems to be pretty stable. So just putting the cross support in here. So I'll put 2 up there, and then I'll hold in the slats for that top. A 2x4 probably would have been better here, but I did not have any more, so I was working with what I had to use here. But I can always reinforce it later. So I'm using 2 pieces because I did not have a piece long enough to go across the top. And really that's just for looks and just to keep water out as much as possible. So it doesn't really matter. And it actually turned out looking pretty good with just the 2 pieces instead of the full length there. So here I'm putting the door together. And here's where I run into some issues. It was too wide for the opening, and I'd already assembled it. Tried using the circular saw for this, and it did not work. The chainsaw worked, but it was a little rough.
This is what you call rough sawing. That's that look that everybody's going for.
So I got the door to fit. I just didn't install it yet. I started to work on the rafters, I guess you could call them. So I'm cutting them. You can't see the roof there, but I'm cutting them at an angle to fit in that opening. Again, using what I have. So I screwed them into the supports there. So here's where I ran an issue with the roof material. I pre-cut this thinking it would be long enough, and it would have worked, but it wasn't as long as I wanted it. So I had extra, and I was able to use 2 pieces for the length, and it worked out. So just tightening it up a little bit here. It's pretty much done. Gonna add a little door jamb stopper type thing. Got some heavy duty hinges. They're like for a gate, you know. Reinforce that. Got the old hook. You know, it's all looking pretty good. I'm not super stoked on this stuff. It seems very flimsy. It's just like a plastic. And unfortunately, I didn't have any more 2x4s. So I had to use these. I didn't feel like going to the store. It's kind of far away, so we'll see how that holds. I mean, in the summer, it's going to be fine. I just am concerned about the winter snow. But yeah, I mean, it's not, you know, it's going to get some water in there. It's not watertight, obviously. You got some big gaps, but it's just, you know, place to go to the bathroom. It's somewhat sheltered. I think I'm going to cover that up. But yeah, I'm just tightening stuff up here. I probably spent about, I'd say 8 to 10 hours on it. Turned out good. If you build it, they will deuce. Bro, she works. She works real nice.